Hello, beautiful star family, and welcome to another episode of the podcast Prophet. For those of you who are new here, welcome, and those of you who keep coming back, welcome back. I love you guys. I love you all, but I really am grateful to my friends and star family who have really helped me stay up and afloat. You know, most of my life I felt alone, and I felt like I didn't really have anybody on my side. And I feel like I wanted to make this video or this podcast, I guess, because I've been struggling so much with certain things that Spirit has been putting, hold on, I'm moving around, that Spirit's been putting in my wake. When I say that most of my life I felt alone, the irony is I wasn't really alone. I had not just like the spirits and all that, but I'm saying like in terms of like the human world. I had so many friends. I was born into a very large family. So in terms of physical contact, I was hardly ever alone actually. And if I felt lonely, all I had to do was call someone or go see someone. You know, obviously I'm 53, so technology wasn't around when I was a kid, this kind of technology anyway. And we didn't have easy access to information. You know, if we wanted it, we had to seek it out, you know, through a newspaper or magazines or, you know, an actual person, you know. So it's interesting because I feel like another reason why the world is kind of like blowing apart right now is this song just came on, and if Spirit calls me to, I'll put a link in the description box. Always check in there for some pearls. And I don't know, I didn't even know this was going to come into it, but I noticed when I heard the music, I was like, oh, this is pretty. And I looked down and it says, it was, I think it was John Barry or John Williams. It was music from like a movie soundtrack. And it said something about crying in the world, like the world's crying out or something like that. And I can see why certain things are happening the way they're happening. But it's really difficult to explain it to somebody who doesn't understand. The loneliness is palpable. But it's a catch-22 because a lot of times I may feel lonely and then I want to be around people. And then after about 20 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm done. And now I'm like, oh no, I'm stuck being around these people, you know, if it's anything longer than 20 minutes. I don't know if any other empaths feel this way or light workers, but it's been difficult. I mean, all the way around, I think I've been really understanding and recognizing just how much I'm willing to give and how much I'm willing to receive. And it's a slippery slope. And I know this all sounds a little cryptic, but basically I've just been having a lot of things from my past resurfacing, things that I thought were put to rest, you know what I mean? Put to bed, done, cleaned out that closet, I'm good, let's move forward. But it wasn't like that. It's very difficult. And I'm also having a hard time right now because there are certain things that took place over the last year while I was in so much grief, that certain decisions and things that I said, and it's been more than that actually. I kind of feel like I've been having a slow death, like a really super cyber slow death with my old life for some years now. And I also believe that's why I'm struggling with Alder so much right now with my marriage and my partnership with him, because I'll put a link in the description box, but I did a video yesterday where I said make a grilled cheese with me, and I ended up kind of getting into a lot of heavy things that I've been dealing with right now, and these little swallows keep coming into my eyesight, so you may want to work with the swallow bird spirit medicine. But I mean, this one is so cute. He's like at the very tip of this tree that I'm like, how do you even, how, and it's windy, and I'm like, how are you just like landing there? You know, you're so tiny. There's a lot of babies. We got a lot of new ones. They breed around here. Anyway, I'm getting off topic, but I spoke of how an ex-fiance resurfaced in my life after like 8 years. It was like 8 or 9 years, something like that. It's been a long time. And we've known each other for a good 20 years. So it's been an interesting time for me. And I wasn't sure if I was going to share it with anybody, or even with Alder. Like, I was like, I don't know, you know. And the main reason they came back into my life was their father passed away, and they kept coming to me to the point where I like I just knew I needed to reach out to them. And I'm so glad I did, because it's a really hard subject for them right now. And I could tell they said it to me, but I could tell that they needed a friend, but then they confirmed it. And I was like, okay, so that's why you're in my orbit right now, you know? Because death of a parent is really difficult. And I said to him, I go, isn't that crazy? I said, my mom, you know, died like 5 months before your dad did. I'm like, that's so wild. I'm like, and my cat of 13 years died within like 11 days of his dad. So it's just really interesting. So, you know, sometimes things come back into our lives to kind of shake us up, remind us who we are, and remind us what we want. And I feel like I'm getting emotional. I'm just taking a breather. Plus my stomach's growling. It's because I'm making chili. It's a chilly day. It's a chilly summer day here in the Pacific Northwest. It's rainy and overcast and like high of 65, and I love it, actually. It's perfect. And so I'm working on a project that I've been putting off for a while and making myself some chili for later. But I'm so grateful, because there's this stink in here that I knew it was going to be rough. Like when we were going to gut the bathroom, like I knew it was going to be rough, because I just knew. That's one of the reasons why I knew like we had to gut at least that part of the RV, because I could smell it. I was like, this isn't just like, oh, the tank needs to be cleaned out or whatever. I'm like, there's like something's wrong. And so long story short, for the last few, like when we first tore it out right before Mercury went retrograde, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. I like threw some stuff down, and then I put some, you know, fabric over it until we can, you know, get the subfloors out and redo that area, which we're going to do after Mercury goes direct. But with all the retrogrades, everything going on, I was like, I knew we had to do it before the summer got too bad, you know? And I'm so glad we did it, because it's like really inspired me. But oh my gosh, like the smell, I can't like, and I have no idea where the fucking cord to my diffuser is. I can't find it. I've been like burning lavender and like, so right now I'm grateful to smell chili, because I was just like, I haven't, you know, been cooking a lot, or if I cook quick things, but the chili's nice. It's like, I'm like, good, I can smell chili instead of that. Anyway, sorry, I know that's kind of gross, because I just realized the correlation of the chili and the shit. Oh, Spirit's so funny. Oh, so funny. We have to laugh, you guys. It's fucking rough out there. We have to laugh, and we have to just get through things, you know? I mean, shit happens, literally, and, you know, we just have to do things. So, I guess I wanted to just talk about, you know, really confronting things. And if there's something that's been pushing you really hard, I feel like Spirit is like, this is your wake-up call to confront it, because it's not going to go away. None of the things, none of the hardships, none of that stuff, it's like, it's not going to go away. It's going to stay there. By the way, when I looked down, I saw 9:56, but what I really saw was 56, and it hung there for a second, which is also the number 11. And basically, what I'm getting from spirit is that, sometimes we can live in a memory. And that's what I realized. I was like, at least right now, I was thinking, it's nice to live in the memory and the beauty of a person or a place or a time and place, a time and space, that things were a certain way. But we have to remember that everything is different. Like when he and I met, the ex, it's like that was 20 years ago. We're completely different people now. And even if at our core we're still the same, in terms of like our character and things like that, we've witnessed and experienced things, there's no way around that, it just is. So, when I did the video, I said at the end, I'm like, this is a really interesting time. And I felt like I was meant to share it with you guys because I think it's good for us to revisit certain things. If it keeps coming up, it's coming up for a reason. If we're being called to revisit something, it's because it has something to say, it has something to tell us, it has something to show us. And that's the vibe I'm getting from spirit. Is that sometimes things have to end the way they end. We want a perfect ending with the pretty bow. You know what I mean? We want it perfect. And sometimes we get it. Sometimes we have, that moment with, a grandparent or somebody, and then you hear that they passed away and you're like, oh, I'm so glad that we just spent that time together. I'm so glad, like, we said everything we wanted to say. Like, I feel good. I'm so happy for them, like we have closure, that kind of thing. But when we don't have closure, it can seep in and it can start to feel really like desolate. Like, I feel like that's where the loneliness kind of comes in, because we can get caught up in some shadow or some unresolved feeling or emotion, instead of just like letting it be what it is. So this ex and I, we didn't have physical closure. I think we both thought we'd see each other again, but it just didn't work out that way. And I believe that there's a part of us that has that soul retrieval, where it's like, how do I do this? Like, how do I, make peace with this? Or, you have an argument with somebody and they pass and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the last thing I said to him. I called him a dick to his face. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff, it fucking sticks with us. That bird is still there, by the way. I feel like they're trying to tell us something. It could be a robin, now that I'm looking at it, it could be a robin. But we have so many swallows around here, and the robins do come, but they don't stay long when they do. Anyway, I feel like this message is for somebody, and if they draw me to, I'll put something for that bird spirit medicine in the description box. But I've been feeling so many things, like, one of the, and I told my partner now about what happened and how this person came back into my life and whatever, and they know the history of them because we've been together for 10 years, so they know. And they were like, I'm not jealous, and then they even said something like, are you trying to make me jealous? I said, no. I said, actually, no, really, I'm not. But then, like, later on, I thought about it and I was like, I don't think I was seeking that. I think it was more like I wanted him to know that I had options, and that, like, the whole time we've been together, there's been this like power and control thing with he and I, my partner and I now. And I don't like it. And that's what I've been trying to, like, it's kind of like, I feel like I've spent 10 years with someone that was like, if you want to love me, if you want to be with me, then you have to do everything my way. And whenever we flipped the tables, And it was like with me, where I was like, if you want to be with me, you're going to have to change. Then we took a separation last year that was supposed to be 2 weeks, and now it's been over a year, and we're still trying to figure things out. But it's just such an odd energy. Like, I don't even know how to navigate it. I've been doing my best and listening to spirit and meditating and things like that, but trying to be open to receive the answers. But I think the whole point of it is also for me to release, like, because the only energy that wants to control is our ego. So it's really interesting because I really dissected our conversation yesterday because I felt like it needed to be dissected. And I have been going through and dissecting my emotions as well, and really looking at them from the bird's eye view, right? Like the last reading that we did, or the last Sacred Sunday, we used the bird messages cards and the oracle cards, and there was a lot of magic that came through in those readings. We worked with the spirit animals. You may want to check that out. We did personal readings for people. It was live, but it was really cool. So I feel that the best, I don't know, I guess I'd say plan of attack, or I don't even know if that, I mean, it sounds aggressive to me, but I guess moving forward, what I'm realizing is that I don't want to put myself in situations or conversations that are hurtful. But I also understand that that's part, it's all part of the process. We all love looking down. All we want is some respect, but the chance is never around. Something like that. That's more Chiba. But that's what it is. And I feel like the whole world is having this exposure right now. And people who lie or cover things up, or, it's like, all of that is going to peel back. It's being unfolded as we speak. You can't run away from it. Instant karma is going to get you. There's no way around it. It has to be dealt with the way it has to be dealt with. And with this past, relationship, I realized that it's a deep friendship, and actually probably the interesting thing is, I feel like this person that just reconnected with me, I feel that is like there on so many levels, that is my person. That's my person, like 100%, like I want to be with this person. Why would I want to be, with my current partner? We're so different. It's so hard. It's, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I feel like this is where I'm meant to be, learning these lessons. I mean, I've been doing so much research on my current partner and I's charts, and the, the things, the commonalities, and it's like at the core, if you looked at our charts and, whatever, you'd be like, this is not a match. Like, this is, like, we couldn't be more opposite. I mean, we literally are in every aspect. It's freaky. From him being born on a Sunday, me being born on a Monday, sun, moon, our signs. He's triple Gemini. I'm triple Sag. You know what I mean? And then his moon's in Sag and my moon's in Scorpio. So it's like, what the fuck? I mean, it's just like it's so crazy. And I even did further research just recently on, I don't know if it was the last podcast or one of the episodes that we did for our readings, but it was really powerful. And it made me realize just like how some of us we accepted these relationships in this lifetime, during this lifetime, literally because we want to expand our consciousness, expand our heart chakra, expand our soul knowledge. I mean, it's so powerful. It's so powerful. So I feel like the ex was like this passionate love, laughter, best friends, getting along, you know what I mean? Like everything was like awesome. And my current partner, it's like we have to work so hard at it. But at the end of the day, there's something there that I don't think either one of us really understand, except for the fact that most likely we are twin flames and we do this every lifetime. I don't know if I agree or disagree with the twin flame notion that, you know, once you like whatever, like, you know, you don't have to stay with your twin flame. So I was like, I mean, it could be, I mean, there's just so many things. And right now I just feel like I don't have the answers, but I can only go by where I'm at right now. And I feel like all three of us in this little love triangle that I have somehow, or we have all three of us co-created, um, is meant to be for a reason. And I do believe it's for expansion and growth on multiple levels. I just don't know exactly where and how it's all going to come together. But again, I don't know if I'm meant to right now. You know, I mean, obviously, if I was, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. Um, but I do urge you to really look at things. I mean, this is my story. This is my journey, right? This is my path with these people. I think the part that really got me was when my ex was like, you know, I still think about us. I still wonder, you know, and I was like, I do too. You know, I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, it's difficult. I'm like, I miss them so much. And the part of them that I miss the most is the part that my current partner does not really possess at this time. And I know they can. I've seen it in action. But I feel like somewhere inside they have created that to be a weakness and not in a good way. And I feel like it's the divine masculine. Like, and I feel like a lot of people are fighting the divine masculine energy right now, as it is like being overtaken by the divine feminine, which it's meant to be at this time. It at some point it's all going to level itself out and we're going to get back to the balance. But right now we do have to really work and focus on our divine feminine energy, because that's where the heart chakra, that's where the love is. And you know what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. We need it. We need it. I mean, and having a sitting American president who's such a fucking ridiculous, I don't even know, like, I don't even, I would be lowering myself to call them names or whatever, but, and lowering my vibration to do that. But to see them actually, like, say, like, such ridiculous, stupid things is just like, it's more than laughable. It's like, what the fuck? Like, that's right, you voted him in. So, and I'm like, so this must be your maturity level too. And if that's the case, it's like, that's the maturity level that a lot of people are at this planet right now. That this very old, elderly man still sees himself as some young, like, stud, you know, whatever, and like is making comments about 20 something and 30 something year old women that are like pop singers. And it's just, he's just so I just can't. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But that's what we're dealing with. That's what it is. So if we feed into that bullshit, we feed into the divine masculine, you know, the shadow aspect of it, and the yang energy, then that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's what's going to come back. So they really want us to focus on the divine feminine energy and the healing and the love and all that good stuff, you know? So keep that in mind as you are moving forward, that everything has to get worse before it gets better. And that's every situation, you know what I'm saying? Like, so even that, like, I can't even imagine, like, when I was growing up as a child, presidents, kings, leaders, like, these were supposed to be people that we looked up to. These were the people that were making the decisions for us, helping make the decisions for us, you know? And to see something like that where he's like, oh, she's a Republican? Oh, I love her. It's like, oh my God, dude, do you not hear yourself? It's like, do you not have anyone in your corner that's just like, dude, you sound like a fucking idiot. You sound like a child. You sound like a fucking 17-year-old boy with a walking heart on. And it's like, because that's what he is. Because no one's ever made him, you know, have accountability or responsibility. Just because you get older doesn't mean that you mature. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what's happening in so many, you know, especially men right now. It's women too, right? Because we all have divine masculine and feminine in us. And that's my divine masculine. That's 70% of my birth chart, right? That's just like wants to just like take him in a back alley and like fucking beat the shit out of him and be like, grow up, like enough. And I want to do the same with it's like, I feel like I just want to like go into the government and like, I just want to like go on social media or like go somewhere and just be like, have we all had enough now? Can we stop this shit? We all see what's happening. You know what I mean? It's like, and I sometimes think that because I thought when they had, I can't think of the name of the show right now, but you know, the show, the Handmaiden's Tale, I was like, it scared the fuck out of a lot of people, especially women, because they were like, are they like trying to, you know, warn us? Are they trying to like show us that, you know, whatever? Especially when that came about, I had just moved up to Washington, and I moved to. The irony is, I moved to Portland, Oregon for my ex, the one that I'm talking about, because we went there for his birthday, and we both were like, you know, we wanted to move there. And long story short, then I was pulled to come up to Washington. And then when that came out, I was like, oh my gosh, is spirit moving me north? Because, you know, it's time for me to become Canadian, like for real. You know, I was like, I'm really serious. Like, this is no joke, you know? But that's what they've been trying to do, is ingest as much fear as possible. And he does things like that. It's like, it's just like, is there a mature adult around him? Is there a mature adult running this country? Because to me, I feel like it's a bunch of good old fucking boys with their dicks out and their guns out. Sorry, I'm going to get like Southside Chicago Kelly on this, but it really is. It's just so ridiculous and obnoxious. It's just this very dick-driven, masculine, like, you know, that's been going on for thousands of years, that I just know for myself and the divine feminine, especially in this life, you know, as a woman that I chose to be in this lifetime. You know, I'm like, I've seen too much in my 53 years, and now studying my past lives as well, I've just seen this, and I've been going through this for centuries, and I've had enough. I've seen visions of myself as an African American slave, but, you know, African slave, let's just be honest, right? Being raped by a white man, like, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen just so many things, and I've seen myself in some form of royalty. So I don't know if I was royalty or like I was, you know, like the right hand maiden, or like if it's true that we've always been what we are, then most likely I was probably like a witch or a wizard, or, you know what I mean? Or some type of seer. You know, I've seen myself as a monk, as a male, you know, so it's interesting. I've seen myself alive when Jesus was alive. I've had two different spiritual teachers that didn't even know each other tell me that they felt like Jesus worked with me or studied under me. I've seen things with me in Buddha. I've just seen so many things, and some of it I was incarnated in a human avatar. Some of it I was just a spirit guide, or, you know what I mean, an angel helping out from the other side. But I've just seen it for so long that I'm just like, I can't do it. You know what I mean? I was like, hold on, I gotta turn this thing on. I was like, I can't do it much longer, you know? So I do feel like there's a part of us that spirit is trying to get us to look at, understand, but also laugh. And like, it's like, in a way, it's like, how can we take anything, things that are happening, like how can we take any of it seriously? And then there's this other side of me that's like, yeah, but that's the whole point, is that if we don't take it seriously, it's going to keep, running off the rails. So there's an interesting divide that's happening right now, and you're seeing it everywhere. If you found yourself here, most likely you're connected to the spiritual community. You've been watching things, observing, or and or you're a natural medium, light worker, psychic, you name it, earth angel, all of the above, witch, healer. But we've been hearing this for some time, that there's going to be a point where it gets to be a great divide, and we're in it right now. It's a spiritual war, and the dimensions are just so skewed. And it's like, I said to Alda the other day, I said to my partner, I said, I think it's interesting that all of this is happening the way it's happening, because it does kind of feel like this us versus them, but I don't feel like it's supposed to be an us versus them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's meant to be an all-encompassing energy, and what's gonna stay is the love. And because people just want, most people want to feel better, even those that are stuck in a depression, yada yada yada. I feel like most people want to feel better. They don't want to suffer. They don't want to struggle. Most people, they want, it's why people take medications and do all these things. But even though we're witnessing that these companies have been poisoning us from the inside out and the outside in, it's like, okay, well, what are you going to fucking do about that? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about that? That's the question I feel like Spirit is saying to us right now. So what are we going to do about that? Are we just going to continue to allow these things to happen, or are we going to speak our truth? And as much as I want to, it's like, it's my natural state to be in the love and the light and all that. But I also know that I co-created, myself into this life and this avatar, and all this fire energy, all this yang energy. And I wouldn't have created myself with 70% divine masculine makeup if I wasn't meant to be some type of ball buster a little bit, because I think that's what makes the most beautiful human, is the one that understands, that's like, it's not all light and love. Even though we want it to be that way, now we understand. We went into thousands of years of darkness and shadow, and it's been taking us, hundreds of years to pull us back out of it. And it will continue, probably long after my death, This is, I think, don't quote me, I'm not an astrologer, but I want to say that we have at least another, like, over 2,000 years of being in the age of Aquarius, and I feel like that's meant to be that way, right? So we are bringing it, back up to, basically, we all know, scientists, humans, light workers, we all know and feel that the earth is moving faster, things are moving faster, change. That's why we're having all these massive volcanoes and tsunamis and things that are happening, and the tectonic plates and earthquakes and you name it. We're having all of these natural, quote unquote, disasters, when it's like, they're not natural disasters to Gaia. That's just her, like, she's speeding up, she's connecting, right? And things are about to change, and we are going to see a lot of people that are going to go through some massive hardships. And as much as people are praying for peace and love on the planet, there's a lot of people who are praying for, the sitting American president and people like them and leaders like them. Like, they're praying for their fucking, their demise. They're praying for them to be tortured. They're praying for them to have, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's so much craziness happening, like, on multiple levels. It's intimidating for the human mind to, like, literally, like, wrap their what they know around that, because we've been in this falsehood forever. I mean, I remember being a very young child and telling my family that absolutely fairies were real and all these things, and that's why I was kicked out of Sunday school, because that I it's like everybody could tell I was telling the truth, or they would like say to my parents, where is she getting this from, or what is she watching, or what is she reading, or you know. And I just remember the looks on their faces like I was really crazy. I mean, I have certain family members that like it's like burned into my brain, the way that they would look at me when I would talk about fantastical things or whatever, like, and I could see that they genuinely were like, I know you believe it, you know. It's like, you're crazy, but we love you anyway, you know. And I was like, I'm not crazy, you guys. I'm like, this is very fucking real. But I can't control that. I can't, you know. So there's just so much that's happening right now. And I feel like I'm ready to love and be loved and just live in like a loving state. Yet my partner, I don't think, it's funny, he never liked the term husband. So I would call him my husby. And he liked that. He thought that was cute. But since we've been separated, it feels so weird to call him my husband. I don't know how to explain it. I guess because I don't feel like we are. So it's very interesting. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, everything about my life is so precarious right now. It's like, it's hard to, and I feel like everybody's lives are, right? Like, I'm just talking about mine, but you know, feel free to share below, like, you know, the crazy things that are happening around you, or the unstable energies that you're trying to navigate, you know, because this isn't our first time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the vibe I get from spirit. Like, this isn't our first time, you guys. Like, we've been through this before. We've done this before. It's just not on this level. Never. We've done things on other planets, a lot of us, a lot of other solar systems, you know, and different avatars. But Earth is special to all of us because we co-created Earth to be a training ground for the souls. So it's so beautiful. I mean, all you have to do is just look at, you know, places like Fiji or New Zealand or where I live, you know, in the Pacific Northwest. And, you know, it's beautiful here, not just in America, but also going up to, you know, Vancouver and or Vancouver Island, and like the whole going up to Alaska. It's quite magical. So, you know, and there's so many places. I mean, I can go on and on. I mean, my gosh, it's my dream to be in Japan when all the cherry blossoms come out, you know. I'll get there. But you know, those kind of things of like being witness to something so magical that was co-created. Some of it was co-created with humans in Gaia, and some of it was just Gaia, right? Like, so allow the magic in, allow the love in, and you'll start to see things differently, and you'll want to stay in the 5D energy. What movie was it when he was like something like, if you get out of that, he's like, you'll want it. Oh, it was in Scrooged. Remember at the end where like he finally realizes that love is the answer, and he's crying, and he's like, please, like, allow yourself to love, basically is what he's saying. I'm paraphrasing. And he's like, and you'll want it. And he's like, and once you have it, like, you'll want it every day, you'll want it all the time, you know, you'll become addicted to it, instead of the being mean or the pain and suffering, you know. Because his character, Bill Murray's character in Scrooged, was not always that way. He was a really sweet, loving guy. And it's interesting, it was one of my favorite movies of all time for so many years. And it wasn't until even now, like, I'm having some aha moments even talking to you guys about it. But as I got older, I started to realize like why I loved him so much, because I was so sweet and tender and loving, yet I was also mean and harsh and bullying, because my heart just wanted to love and be loved and be accepted. But my blood and bone family was so fucked up. Both sides of my parents family, you know, our extended family, and this was generations and generations of alcoholism, or just like anger, frustration. You know, I remember I would say things about my mom's dad, and I'd be like, oh, I love grandpa, he's so sweet, he's like the best grandpa ever, you know. And then it wasn't until I got older that some of my other family members were like, he wasn't always like that, grandpa was really mean when we were little. I was like, what? They're like, yeah. And then I started to see like how like the bullying was like transferred, and just like how much bullying had happened, and narcissism and control, and just like, and I can go on my dad's side of the family too. So it was just really powerful, and these are the people that mold us and shape us into who we become. Then as we become adults, it's our job to sadly unpack all of that, and then try and decipher what part is us. And that's why I just struggled, and I had to stop talking to all of my friends and family and my blood and bone, because I was like, whatever healing needs to take place, it's not going to happen with me here. Like I was like, I gotta go. So I kind of said that to my partner the other day. I was like, are you, I'm like, do you want to keep going, or are you just keeping going because like, I'm like, what is this? Are you afraid to let me go? I was like, do you want me to leave? I said, I bet if I, really wanted to, I could probably go stay, with my ex, or like at least maybe go on like a little vacation or something, just to get away for a little while. I'm like, maybe I'm meant to go there and see him. Maybe you're meant to like not talk to me or see me for a while. And I put it out into the universe, and I told Spirit, I'm like, if any of that's meant to happen, like show me the way. So I don't know, but it's just interesting, because like I have to ask myself about that too. Like, why would I be going there? Am I going there because I really want to see him? Are we going to try and like, you know what I mean? It's just so weird, and weird not in a bad way. It's just like, it's just interesting weird. Like, I'm like, all of a sudden I feel like I'm in a position that I never thought I would be in. I'm stirring my food. Hold on. But here I am. You know what I mean? Like, here I am. Whether I like it or not, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. This is it. And sometimes we don't even know why we're doing the things we do, Hold on. The long and the short of it is, we're all exactly where we're supposed to be. And if you do not feel like you're where you're supposed to be, then maybe it's time to ask yourself where that is and what that means to you. I know that some people may think I spend way too much time thinking about things, but that's how it goes. It's better to take a little time. Sometimes we have to make instant decisions. We just have to. That's just the way things go. But, more times, more often than not, we don't. We like, it's a choice. Like we can take the time to think about it. One of the most important things that my current partner said to me was, I'm not looking to be with anyone else, if that's what you're asking me. And I was like, I'm not really asking you that. I'm like, I was trying to find out how you feel about me, and like how you feel when you're with me, that kind of thing. And he beautifully and miraculously said, I'm still trying to figure out how to love myself. And I thought that was really powerful. So then it made me realize, like, maybe that's the whole, point of it, is that he's not ready. And if we're not ready, we're not ready. And we can't force it, and we can't, and I said, I think you and I are at different places right now. I said, because I do feel like I'm ready, but if you don't, I'm like, so that made me think too, right? Just because I think I'm ready, I must not be, because why is this happening? Like, why, you know what I mean? Like, why is this coming to me? And let me tell you that it's been happening for months, but I just was like ignoring it. And then finally, I call it Henry VIII thing, like at the end of Ghosts, when Patrick Swayze won't leave Whoopi Goldberg alone until he does her bidding, till she does his bidding. And that's what was happening. It was like his dad just kept coming to me, and he wouldn't let me sleep this one night. And I was just like, okay. I'm like, all right. I'm like, I'll help, But now I'm so glad that I did, because it was all meant to be and all that. But in the end, I feel like we were essentially brought together to connect him with his dad, because he really needed that closure, because he didn't get to say goodbye, and he hadn't talked to him in years and all that. So I'm really glad that I could be there to hold space for him for that. But at the other side of it was that I feel like he and I like needed this reminder of each other. And even if it's to remind him that he deserves somebody as awesome as me, or I deserve somebody as awesome as him, like, because that came into the conversation. I said, with my current partner, I said, I feel like that's part of the reason why you don't like why they're feeling the way they are, is because I've never I've never strayed, I've never cheated, I'm it's not in my makeup. I even tried. I mean, and it's just not me. And so it was kind of interesting. I feel like this all had to come up to so I can say to him, I don't know if it's him that I want so much, my ex, me saying, I'm like, or if it's just that I feel like he was there to remind me and show me the love that I want, the love that I crave, the kind of relationship love, like intimate love that I crave. And that's what I told my current partner. I was like, I feel like that's why he's here, to remind me that I'm worth that. And that if you can't give that to me, then I deserve to be with someone that can, whether it's him or somebody else. And I feel like sometimes spirit brings people, places, situations back into our lives to remind us that we're beautiful and we're awesome just the way that we are. And if we're trying to fit into some mold to please somebody or to be loved, we're in the wrong place. Anyway, I hope this helped you in any way, shape, or form. I'm sending you all so much love, and just take good care of yourself right now as much as possible. And when you can, show that love to others. Give that love to others, because right now we all need it more now than we've ever needed it before. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Take it easy. Blessed be. Oh.